Malaya Brooks Murray makes no apologies for staying silent. She hasn't talked publicly since the weekend her two children, Jack Sullivan, who was 4 at the time, and Lily, who was 6, went missing from their home in Lansdowne, Nova Scotia. She says she was advised by the RCMP not to talk. She says she was advised by the RCMP not to talk.
That's just one of many lies in this brand new interview, so let's watch it together and count the rest. I'm Deception Detective, an attorney trained in statement analysis. This channel exposes lies and manipulation, so if that's your thing, hit subscribe. For early access to new videos and over 80 exclusive videos, consider becoming a channel member. Link in description. If the names Malaya Brooks Murray, Lily and Jack Sullivan, or Daniel Martel don't ring a bell, don't worry, this interview will bring you up to speed. So there's just one last thing I want to clarify before we dive in. Ever since her kids disappeared 15 months ago, Malaya has always claimed that she went into hiding because the RCMP told her that speaking out would jeopardize the case.
I just did whatever they told me to do because I didn't want to jeopardize the case in any way.
First of all, that just isn't true, as you can see in the clarification they put out last year on your screen. And second of all, if it were true, that's even worse. It means that Malaya decided to jeopardize the investigation by doing this interview. To put it bluntly, I think Malaya is contradicting the RCMP and herself because she's just a bad liar. And there's plenty more examples of it coming up, so let's get into it.
Thank you for doing this. Malaya, it's been more than 15 months since you've seen Jack and Lily. How are you doing?
Not good.
How do you spend your days?
Just one day at a time, surrounded by family and friends and support systems, going to therapy regularly. I do a lot of art and I see my daughter. We always plan everything that we can to keep my mind busy.
How are you doing? How do you spend your days? Those are known as phatic questions, and they're not meant to be answered literally. They're meant to hand over narrative control to the interviewee to talk about whatever they think is important. If you've seen any of my videos analyzing innocent parents, you'll know that they typically use the airtime to accomplish 7 things, like asking for help, pleading with any potential kidnappers, and generally trying to find their missing kid. Meanwhile, hoaxers use the airtime for other purposes. Some of them use it to push red herring theories, some of them use it to tell sob stories to garner sympathy for themselves, and still others, the really unconfident bad liars, are just trying to run out the clock to survive the interview without revealing anything incriminating. And I think that's what's going on here, because Malaya answered both questions seemingly honestly. How are you doing? Not well. What do you spend your days doing? Taking care of myself. But she didn't use the questions to segue into finding her missing kids. Indeed, I would have expected an average liar to at least say I spend my days looking for my kids, just to look like they actually care. In other words, to put it really bluntly, I don't think Malaya is a good or confident liar, which is why she was silent for so long and why she's so reticent in this interview. It's never a good sign when getting a statement from a supposed victim is like pulling teeth. All right, let's keep going.
And I know we've heard others talk about Jack and Lily and they've described them, but you spent the most time with them. What can you tell me about Jack and Lily?
Lily is a very bubbly little girl who always smiles and loves to pose for photos. She loves unicorns and LOL dolls and to dress up girly. She loves dresses. Just like me when I was younger, I was always wearing dresses. She always loved to pick out her outfits, and I would bring her some and she would pick them out. Jack loves bugs. He loves playing outside, digging for things. Anytime he got a new dinosaur, he was always excited and loves those Dino Smashers. Those were his favorite. They were both always so happy.
And how were they with each other?
They loved each other. They hugged each other. They would say sorry to each other. Sometimes they would get in fights with each other, but they would always make up.
What do you miss the most about them?
Everything. Their laughter, their smile, their hugs, their smell. I think it's just when you're a mom, your children have a particular scent that you never forget. And it's just something that you know.
Is it good that Malaya is talking about Lily and Jack in present tense? Yes, it's a really bad sign when the parents of missing children speak about them in past tense ever. But that doesn't mean she thinks they're alive. In fact, I think she's trying so hard not to slip up and talk about them in past tense that she's barely answering the question in the way that I would expect the parent of a missing child to do so. Remember, the entire point of going on TV, if you're actually the parent of a missing child, is to get people to care about your missing child. Whether it's getting the police to care enough to redouble their efforts, or getting the public to care enough to call in with even the slightest tip, or getting any kidnappers who may have taken them to change their mind and send them home to mommy. There's infinite ways to do this, to tug on people's heartstrings. But let me show you an example of an actual mother of a missing child talking about her kid, and I won't tell you how long he's been missing. I'll tell you after the clip. Listen to this and compare it to what we just heard from Malaya.
My son is Kyron Horman. As she said, he went missing June 4th, 2010 from Skyline Elementary School in Portland, Oregon. In a group, Kyron is the smallest in stature, but he's the brightest. You may not notice it because he's also the quietest. My son has a smile that lights up the room. You can't help but laugh when he laughs. He has this belly laugh that's infectious. He's a shy kid and is in his comfort zone when he's around his family and friends. He loves to play with his cousin and build Legos. He enjoys playing on his Wii. Skylanders is one of his most favorite games to play with his brother Quinn. The two of them have this thing that they do where they sit quiet and stare at each other. And Kyron is always the first to laugh, every time. It's so much fun to watch them together.
Hopefully you get my point. Actual parents of missing children like Desiree Young, the mother of missing Kyron Horman, who was missing for 7 years at the time of that speech, aren't just going through the motions. They're doing everything they can to cajole the audience into caring about their kid enough to help. They're also sharing detailed, relevant information that might help people jog their memories about whether or not they saw their kid or might know something. And they're also specifically asking for help. It's the entire point of doing the TV interview in the first place. There's still plenty left in this interview, so if you want a part 2, let me know by liking, commenting, and hyping. Until next time, stay true.